My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, the inevitable happening. Delhi getting over the line, and yet again, a fact that we're going to confirm to you and talk about over and over again, that it's going to be 1 versus 2, as in the sides that finish first and second in the league stage are through to the final. First, a reminder of what happened in the game itself. It was always going to be a tall order to chase down 190, particularly after losing David Warner early on in the piece. Brilliant innings from Kane Williamson and fabulous from Abdul Samad. As we keep saying the name, we're going to hear a lot about. He's a known six-hitter, hit a few, but at the end, Kagiso Rabada coming with 3 wickets in a single over, and that could break the back of any side. Falling well short, and this time it would not be another fairy tale for the men in orange. Here on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live, once again to look back on the penultimate game of the tournament, the last of the qualifiers before we go to the grand finale, Delhi versus Mumbai. Shaun Pollock Joy Bhattacharjya in the house. Inevitable, Shaun, at the end, but good fight from the Orange Army.
Yeah, they'll almost be kicking themselves, wouldn't they? SRH, I mean, the big scorer, Warner, didn't get any. We talked about the need for Rabada to come up with some special kind of skills, and he showed that. We haven't seen him swing the ball much in this tournament, and that first over, he was really good. And to get through the defenses of Warner was brilliant. I know at my time in Mumbai, we used to try and get Mully with a new ball to bowl a similar kind of delivery. It is something that can be very effective against him. But once that went down, you almost thought, oh, well, the chase is basically done. Kane Williamson will play a part. And he was brilliant for his 60, probably the best innings I've seen him play in the RPL for me. I know he's had some good ones, but for me, that was as good as it gets. And then everyone contributed. And I thought at one stage, hold on, you never know here. They might just be able to sneak over the line. It was starting to get exciting. But eventually the scoreboard pressure played its part. And it was always going to be a big ask. We say that at the halftime that they're almost like a 175 team. You know, anything underneath that, you believe they can chase. But once they have to rely on the firepower at the back end, it was always going to be difficult. So Delhi, they picked themselves up off the floor. They've managed to get themselves into the final.
Yeah, you could see that the 175 was the kind of total they would get to. That's the kind of total they did get to. But they needed more than that, just that Williamson effort, Joy. They needed somebody like a Manish Pandey. With Warner having gone, let's assume we take that. But they needed a Manish Pandey to come up with a 50. Someone with support for Williamson, maybe Holder.
All they needed to do was, in the 16th over, stop the count. Stop the count in the 16th over, and they would have had a chance. But, you guys just allowed it to go on, and that's what happened. I mean, that's what happens when you don't listen to people in orange, and,
You were waiting for that. You were waiting for that, Joy.
You should have just stopped the count. No, what a brilliant innings by Williamson. And, I mean, just the fact that, we went into the last 3 overs, or the last 4 overs, if you were, not the last 3 daily, the last 4 overs with a definite prospect of a game in hand, just shows you what a brilliant innings Williamson played, and what a great supporting hand Abdul Samad played. I mean, that was, I think, for me, carefully calculated, well judged things. They never allowed the run rate to go above 13, 14. They kept coming back. This 57-run partnership was absolutely brilliant. And I thought, they played an exceptional cricket to just keep their team in the game, given the fact that they didn't have much batting to follow. And the moment Williamson went, you could make out, the way it went down like a pack of cards, you could make out that, how important Williamson was and how he was finding the gaps and how he was sort of keeping Samad there and talking to him all the time. It just shows you what a fine cricketer he was, and he is. And I mean, once he went, you could make out that, okay, now the game is really over.
Yeah, Shaun. And one thing that's often said about Kane Williamson, and I heard it today again on commentary, it was probably Pommy who said that, was that Kane Williamson's a smart player. In any sort of situation, any sort of chase, he does just enough. He calculates it. It was probably a situation today, Shaun, where you needed to do more than just enough, whoever you were.
Yeah, I think if he'd been there to the end, you never know. He might have been able to squeak them over the line. But I think in a T20 format, you need to work out what the situation requires from a risk perspective. So if you're chasing down, 6 and over, then obviously your risk can go down to 10%. If you have to chase down 20 and over, you've got to take it up to 90 or 100%. But he's got that brilliant ability of assessing what's required. Almost like, okay, how many do we need? So we need 10. That means I've got to hit 1 boundary, a 2, and some singles and he goes about doing that. And I think, it's, in many ways, it's also, management's kind of dream is a guy who calculates it, understands where he can or can't pick up the boundaries, and almost eliminates the risk as much as can be possible. It's T20 cricket, so there has to be a bit of aggression put in, but he doesn't go over the top. He doesn't become reckless at any stage, and I think that's what makes him so consistent.
Yeah, but if you have to talk about one person who, it was just his day. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't perhaps see Shreyas Iyer necessarily turning to Stoinis with the ball. He's got Rabada, he's got Nokia, Ashwin, lots of options. But he went straight to Stoinis with the ball. Sometimes in your head, you just think, the way you batted, we sent you into open, just go ahead and bowl.
No, absolutely. And I think what he feared, and probably justifiably feared, was after seeing Ashwin's first over go, he felt that the right-handed batsman would go after Ashwin. So first, if you notice, he bowled Aksar out. He tried to bowl as much to the right-handed batsman with Aksar as possible. And then when he had to bowl, so he felt he needed a little bit of cover for Ashwin and Dubey because he didn't know which way Dubey was going. So he had to bring Stoinis in. But once he did bring Stoinis in, Stoinis really, really did a good job. And see, the thing about it was Stoinis was also under the pump. The fact that he came back and did what he did was, fabulous. And then what he did with the bat today was basically free up Delhi. Free up Shikhar Dhawan, free up Delhi, because they've been having such rotten starts that the moment that start got above 20, already Delhi's mood has changed. You don't even need to get to 50 because they've been having 1, 4, 9, 0, single figure starts throughout. The moment that start reached double figures, reached 20, they said, wow, we are playing this game, we're in it. And the whole mood of a side changes. I can't emphasize how important starts are in this kind of a format.
I think it just sums up the entire game, because for many of us, it just started at the toss, Shaun Pollock. I mean, it almost took us by surprise, the fact that they decided to bat first. And then you called it early that, when someone like a Ponting has probably made a move by asking Stoinis to go up there, it's worked.
Yeah, I think they would have had a good mindset coming in. Ricky's been in many dressing rooms, and I thought he would have given it some thought. He had a break after a very, very poor performance against Mumbai, to be honest. They probably would have sat down as a unit and said, come on, guys, we played some really good cricket throughout this tournament. We can't all of a sudden be as bad as we've been playing. Let's splash out the issues here. Let's get to the bottom of how we're all feeling. And then also need to make a few tactical changes just to give them a bit of a different feel, different vibe, start looking at different players and what part they can play in. And it worked a trick. Can they do it one more time? Can they find a new plan that can work? We'll have to wait and see. But they've done well to pick themselves off the floor. It's sometimes not easy. Just as much as winning becomes a culture, losing becomes a culture as well. So to stop the rot can be very challenging for management.
I think the recovery is what's the big story. No matter what happens on Tuesday, most of us had written Delhi off. You look at the stats, you look at 5 out of 6 loss versus 5 out of 6 won, never been in a final. And in your last game, 0 for 3, and you were just blown away.
Yeah, look, I think they came back well. Again, that's what changes do, good changes. And see, we've been talking a lot about teams that make too many changes, particularly Kolkata and, a lot of the changes they did. But changes are important because changes often give you a fresh start, fresh mindset. Okay, that's behind us. That's not the opening combination. It's a new opening combination. It's a new day. And that's, I think, what Ricky did very well. He changed stuff. He also forced them to bat first, which I think is a brilliant idea because inexperienced batting side, you notice even today, Shreyas didn't get runs. Rishabh Pant didn't get runs. Okay. Rahane, I don't think batted. So it's not that their Indian guys got runs. Today, basically, they got their runs from Dhawan. Of course, not Indian guys. They got their runs from Dhawan, Stoinis and Hetmyer. So a lot of their batsmen are still not firing. But something has changed. And when the mood changes, you don't know what will happen. Things can change very, very fast after that.
Yeah, you were almost right, Joy. Doesn't he live in Melbourne half the time, Shikhar?
Yeah, true. That's true. He spends quite a bit of time in Australia.
Yeah, so there you go, between Australia and Gurgaon, which is just down the road from where we are, less than a kilometer from where we are. But yeah, you'd have to look at that and they'll be buoyant going into the final because, Shaun, if you're in that Mumbai dressing room, just sitting and watching this game, probably expecting at the start of the game that, okay, what's our plan against Sunrise is going to be like? and you see the same Delhi lineup, saying, are these the guys we just blew away the other day? Which Delhi team is going to turn up on Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have any issues playing against Delhi, to be honest. You know, how many games in the tournament? They've played them 3 times, and they've beaten them all 3. So the funny thing is, for Delhi, you only have to beat Mumbai 1 out of 4 times, and you can take away the trophy. And therein lies the opportunity. You know, I suppose in a Mumbai dressing room, you probably think, you know, you're always concerned as management or coaching staff. Did we have our perfect game in the last game? I mean, those last 8 overs, they could have not done any better with the bat in hand to get to, I think it was almost 100 runs in those last 8 overs. And in the first 6, I mean, have you ever seen a better 6 overs of a power play in the tournament? So the only thing you got to be thinking, please don't let us have had our brilliant game, the game before the final, and then Delhi, you know, maybe have a good one. But I think they've got a really well-balanced unit. You know, they've got most bases covered. We've seen them win from many different situations, and they've got depth in all departments. So I think they'll feel quietly confident. You know, they have to realize that it all starts again, and that what's happened in the tournament so far doesn't count for much. Although psychologically, the fact that you've beaten them 3 times has got to play on the minds of Delhi. But I do expect them to come in with a better game plan this time around, Delhi.
Well, we're going to obviously do a more detailed preview in a few minutes' time for that grand finale. But for now, let's focus on Delhi. And this is the act that they got right. They didn't really have much to do in the sense in the previous game. But this time around, they had options. They made the changes. Daniel Sams went out. In came Dubey. Again, they didn't really need to use him too much, but it was all about Kagiso Rabada. We said it at the start, and Shaun Pollock, he delivered.
Yeah, when Rabada gets wickets, Delhi seem to win. That's the trend, and he did it again. Goes to the top of the pops. He's heading down. He's trying to track down Bravo's 32 wickets in a tournament, and he's going to have another opportunity, isn't he, in the final? So you'll be hoping that he can. And it'd be nice to see Rabada and Bumrah leading the attack. Bolt's there as well. So if he's fit to play, and it could be a nice challenge between those two. But I think the key was the wickets up front. You know, to knock over Warner, you know, that was absolutely massive. I think as a unit, when you're playing against someone with Warner in it, you always think if we can just get him out, a bit like Chris Gale, or we know that he is the glue that holds that batting lineup together. So that was a huge delivery, a real peach.
And Joy, I think for 2 factors. One is, yes, it's not that the game was lost, but when Rabada got his 3 wickets in that 1 over, they were hot favourites to take it home. Anyone could have done it. It could have been Nokia, it could have been him. But that 1 key wicket, especially the fact that he had not been taking wickets in the power play just once in the tournament, that makes it even more vital.
No, absolutely. The 3 balls that he swung, you know, this one shaping in, and then the moment I think who walked in, Manish Pandey walked in and he shaped one beautifully away. And that's something he's not been doing throughout the tournament. I mean, somebody must have spoken to him and said that you are a man who can take wickets in test matches. How do you do it? You don't do it by bowling straight length. You bowl it by swinging the ball away, by doing things with the ball. Have you forgotten about that? And I think he just delivered that fantastically. I think in big matches, players who stand up to be counted big matches are good. And I think Ricky will do this again. He does that very successfully, goes to the dressing room and again says, you know what, we are the underdogs, we've got nothing to lose. I think that's what he's going to put on again and say, let's go into Mumbai. Okay, they've beaten us 3 times. What is it? We're going to get beaten a 4th time? Doesn't matter. We'll bat first, we'll put runs on the board, let's see where it goes. And look, I again feel that Mumbai loves chasing in any case. So, I mean, whichever way the toss goes, I think, Delhi's going to bat, Mumbai is going to chase.
Yeah, it's just the excitement of the final coming up that we've already started doing our little mini preview here. So hold those thoughts, gentlemen. We are still going to probably look at the lineups in a bit. But for now, to go back into today's game, the second qualifier, the ultimate team of the day. Yes, it was Team Delhi. But yeah, there were a few contributions from Kane Williamson, Abdul Samad, who were brilliant. Jason Holder was again contributing with both bat and ball, didn't last long enough in that partnership. And Rashid Khan, just the 1 wicket today. But guess who has to be captain? Undoubtedly, Marcus Stoinis in that ultimate team of the day. The My 11 Circle ultimate team of the day, along with Shikhar Dhawan, who got the vice-captain's tag. But I think he looked back, despite having won, and said, could I have maybe got 100? Should I have walked? So many people are asking. smack from the middle, clearly hit outside, impact outside off, but he decided to be generous, big smile on his face. So who's the winner of the My 11 Circle Champion of the Day, picking the best team? And here we can have a look at Shyamananda Chakravarti from Maharashtra. Oh, so should we then say Chakravarti? I don't know, because for Varun Chakravarti being from the south of India, we call him that. What would you say for this? Provashi Bangali, Joy?
Could be either, because Chakravarti is an honorific. It's a title given. So Chakravarti is a kind of ruler. So Chakravarti, Rajagopalacharya, they are all over India. So like their Bengali Mazumdars and their Marathi Mazumdars, all these titles you can find anywhere in India. So yeah, I'd go with the Marathi this time.
You think Shyamananda? Shyamanand
Jalan, all those.
Oh, Shyamanand. Okay, fair enough. Shyamanand. Okay, so maybe at some point, please, hashtag Cricbuzz Live. You've given us all the ultimate My 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the Day. Write into us and tell us if you're actually Marathi or Bengali or from somewhere else and just happen to live in that part of the country. Boost Stamina Meter. Who could it be but the man who's got 200s in the tournament? Could have been on course for a third 100, but fell short today. And what was most important and most significant today is that it was his first half century in a playoff game. In our preview, we said we're expecting a lot from this team, but remember, Shikhar Dhawan hasn't quite done it in a playoff game. And in the previous game, of course, we saw both the big guns not firing. This time, Joy, Shikhar Dhawan put that record straight, and how?
Not only that, batted for 130, that means he stayed throughout the innings. So the fact that they reached this score was also due to the fact that one side was always stabilized. When Hetmeyer was going, when whatever was happening at the other end, when Stoinis was going, one guy is standing in this side and, getting his occasional fours, occasional sixes. And you see, when Shikhar's on, he sort of slog sweeps the spinners so well, down to mid-wicket and, those areas, long on mid-wicket. He does such a good job of it that, he frees up. At any point in time, he can take that shot on. He's got that ability to do it,
I also think that the fact that Stoinis came at the top of the order, which was a different change and something that we've hailed them for doing. But in all honesty, it was Shikhar who was setting the tone. I think after 20 deliveries that both faced, Shikhar's strike rate was well above what Stoinis was. So not only did he get them off to a fast start, he obviously batted for the period of time which showed his stamina. But left-hander, right-hander combination and the rate at which he went, a good performance and a pressure situation.
But Shaun, in your opinion, what is it, just to sum it up, the discussion on Shikhar Dhawan, what's he done different? Because, we saw at times when he looks out of sorts, he looks woefully out of sorts. Comes and gets a couple of hundreds, again a bit of a slump. And the other day, of course, was an anomaly, got a beautiful delivery. Today, again, back to the Shikhar of the 200s.
Yeah, I think, anyone can get out early. He got out to Sandeep Sharma in the first over trying to work a swinging ball in the last time.
Yeah. No, I think it happened.
In all honesty,
go on, Shaun.
I think, in all honesty, what he did really well was the fact that he didn't do anything different. He stuck and he backed his strengths, and that's when he plays so well. When he sticks to his game plan, he knows if I walk across, I can pick it up that side, and doesn't try and do anything that he can't. In fact, the one delivery that he tried to do something untoward was the one he walked for.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's the only place he's going to be walking towards the bus, getting to the hotel, getting there for a little celebration and set for the grand finale, because that is what lies ahead. The final, after 56 games we had at the league stage, then we had qualifier number 1, the eliminator, qualifier number 2, and once the dust has settled, it's going to be team number 1 and team number 2 who are going to be playing each other. It's happened almost every single time in this particular edition. More often than not, there you see it, Mumbai versus Delhi. That's the final, the grand final. That is what we are looking forward to. And we're just going to clarify that while we are still our heart and all our perspiration probably still stuck in Abu Dhabi. That bus actually has to travel to the hotel and then go right, not left, right. So it's going to be in Dubai, just to remind you. Yeah, there we go. Now we've got that sorted. It's Mumbai versus Delhi at Dubai Sports City. Gentlemen, before we talk about teams, before we talk about anything else, just the mental aspect of how these two teams are getting there. Mumbai have been sitting there, waiting. how will they be prepared for this vis-a-vis Delhi at the moment, who are going in with momentum?
I don't think they need to change much. I think they just need to go in the same mindset. I mean, they've been the best team in the tournament. We can't go away from that. They've produced the best cricket. They've showed that they've got the most depth. They've got the best balance. And they've got most of their players performing. I mean, I think they've had 7 or 8 or even 9 guys win man of the match through the performances they've put in. And it has to just be more of the same. I think it would just be a case now of just going over the team that you're facing, giving the players clear ideas about the options that they can use, and then not overcomplicating it. They've been in many finals. A lot of guys there have won the tournament. So it'll just be more of the same.
But Joy, again, the mental aspect that we talked about from Delhi's point of view, yes, of course, we try not to use that M word, but really, it's about the fact that it's 48 hours. They've coming. They'll be celebrating. They wouldn't have probably expected to win so handsomely against SRH, but a few things have worked, and maybe they'll get into that game in a very different mindset than from qualifier 1.
Yeah, I think they'll go back to the same thing. Again, say that, underdogs, nothing to lose, fresh lineup, we're going to do it. Because see, young players get burdened much easier. Senior players find it easier to take responsibilities, to take pressures on them. But young players are in a situation where they'll turn around and they'll say that, whatever it is, I'll take the chance. You got nothing to lose. Guys, these guys have beaten us 3 times. It's okay. Just go and play your game. Play your game, go and smash it when you see it. Just play your tactics, play it well. Because you know what? That's the only way you're going to win. He's got to unlock the minds, because Ricky Ponting's basic problem is his 3 young Indian batsmen, Pant, Shreyas Iyer, his captain, and whether it's Rahane or Shaw, none of them have got it at this point in time. And he's just got to unlock them a bit, because, they got away because everyone else contributed this time, but that's not going to happen every time. He needs a meaningful knock from one of these 3 guys. And, for that, he's just got to make them feel as loose, free, as unburdened as possible, if you know what I mean.
The other aspect, of course, about Mumbai, and we've talked about it, is the lack of changes. Yeah, effectively 13 players. The real list is 15, but that's because they had one game where they wanted to rest Bumrah and Bolt. But essentially, they've played, a core team of 13 throughout the tournament, Shaun, and this is something that will stand them in good stead. We have a look at the squad. Is their 11 pretty much picked, sorted, done and dusted?
Yeah, I suppose Trent Bolt is the only concern. He picked up that niggle. Do you recover from a little groin strain quickly enough? If he doesn't, then Pattinson comes back into the mix. That's what I would think. Otherwise, no changes whatsoever. Saurabh Tripathi played because Rohit Sharma's missed out, and the 2 bowlers have just been chopped and changed at times. But as you say, everyone knows their role.
Yeah.
And their experience, Joy, in finals, I mean, that I think is something that's going to come to the fore, no matter what Delhi might say, no matter what Ponting might say to them.
Yeah, exactly. And they have the great argument that, it may be the even year 2020, but it is 2020 after all. And 2020, anything can happen, guys. And I think they'll quietly have a chat about the fact that I think no team is repeated as champion after Chennai in 2010-11. So 2010, 2011, they repeated as champions. After that, nobody has repeated. That's a long, long time. So I think they're going to turn around and say, it's time for us to put this stamp. And, in this race of who are the best IPL performance in this tournament, Chennai has won less championships, but they've reached more finals. Mumbai have won more championships. They're going to say, let's win one more championship and put this debate absolutely to rest. Let it be that we are the best team of all time in this tournament. And I think that's the kind of thing that they want to do. Just put their stamp on it and finish it off,
Yeah, just let's have a look at this race between the 1 and 2. And just before we go to the Delhi squad, the finale contests between 1 and 2 on the points table each year. This year, of course, we're talking about Mumbai versus Delhi. So the list that we've made for you is the fact that the teams who have finished 1 and in the league have gone on to contest the final. And these are the years it's happened. This year, Mumbai versus Delhi, it's happening for the first time because Delhi, after all, are in the final for the first time, Joy.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be looking at it, and there were so many years in which they had such a terrific team. 2009 comes to mind. They had a terrific team in 2009. 2012, they had a very good team. And those 2 years they'll be looking at it and said, we didn't reach the finals those years, and this year we finally made it. I think it's a big, big game for them, but I think they'll play free cricket. If they play it smartly, they'll play free cricket. And once you play free cricket, it's one match. You don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. Rabada can take 3 wickets. Stoinis can go mad. Who knows? Rishabh Pant could suddenly get runs. Nothing. One match, anything can happen on any particular day.
Yep, and even there were many who fancied them last year as well. Shaun, quick look at the Delhi squad. Maybe not quite that much of a gimme in terms of selection, like with Mumbai, because they did sort of bring in Praveen Dubey in this particular case. Hetmeyer as well, which was probably a good move. So do you see any reason to change this winning combination?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to change much. Just Ashwin. Some of the running around the boundary, you hope that he's going to be fine enough to contribute. But no, I definitely think the batting, you leave it alone now. You don't touch it this late part in the tournament. Those guys have worked. And your bowling unit's done you the job today. I think it is important to rely on Stoinis for a few overs. They did that today. Maybe you get to the ground and the surface is offering up a little bit more for the seamers, and you can see that it's going to be seamer friendly. Then you go to Harshal Patel. Maybe that might just be the one option. Otherwise, stick with Dubey.
The only other way, Joy, if we had in 48 hours, if we had a sort of national agreement between India and Nepal, you could get in Lamichhane for Praveen Dubey if he becomes an Indian citizen in 48 hours.
Lamichhane must be thinking, I'm born 100 kilometers from the Indian border. Why did it have to happen this way? Because absolutely, if he was this side of the corner, he would definitely be playing. Because he's the kind of guy who'd keep Mumbai fits, just because they're not used to playing with him. He's not played much in this tournament. He could do stuff for them, but unfortunately, the way the lineup now is, they can't, because they have to play. Stoinis is irreplaceable. The two seamers are irreplaceable. And Hetmeyer has just given them runs. So, I think there's no way they're going to change anything now.
Yeah, probably. If you had list all the teams who are there, who are not there, if you had to pick an impact player who has had not even a shout of making it into an 11, Sandeep Lamichhane would be captain of that particular team. But such is the nature of this tournament. That's why it's such a beautiful tournament. All the best players in the world come in here, and some have to just sit and watch. Well, at the moment, everybody, the whole cricket world, will be sitting and watching the grand finale on Tuesday, and we'll be bringing it to you. But before that, as a reminder, yes, it's from Dubai. Never mind that we put Abu Dhabi earlier. That's fine. It's okay. It's all just down the road from each other. But that's where the final will be played. Joy, you had a question for which I promised I would not give any hints because I knew the answer, obviously. Firstly, how long did it take to get the right answer before you tell us?
I don't know, but by the time we finished the show and I reached my phone, there were 17 answers.
Fair enough. So tell us the question and the answer.
Okay, here goes. The question was about a player who's played in some specific teams. He's played for the Punjab domestic side in 2005. In this particular tournament, he's played for Punjab. He's played for Hyderabad. In the CPL, he's played for Barbados. He's played for St. Kitts and Nevis. Name him and the country he represents in international cricket. And obviously, Punjab is trying to take you away to a different direction. It's actually Sunny Sohail. And he currently plays cricket for the United States of America. So he basically, after finishing up here, he realized his career after 2012, didn't really play the IPL, decided to focus on his studies, has gone abroad, gone to the US, and suddenly discovered his cricket again. So wonderful to see him there. And he basically plays in the CPL as an America's player, and that's how he qualifies to play out there.
Yep. Interesting one there. That also, whenever we had a lot of feedback about, Praveen Tambe, when he went and played as an Indian player, the first Indian player to go and play for TKR this time. And there were lots of people saying, no, there have been others as well. But just to clarify, if they've come as an America's player, which some of the Indians now have, Saurabh Netravalkar, who used to be a huge wicket taker for India, under-19 World Cup with Jaydev Unadkat, now goes captain of the US national team. He also has gone to the CPL as an America's player, not an Indian player. So there's a little technical clarification. But we haven't forgotten the winner. Who is it? Who got it in those few seconds flat? It's Pratik Jede. Pratik 06 Jede. Well done getting that joy factor question right. Well, there you have it. We are looking for...
Yeah, just one more order of business to finish. One more day for this match, and of course, the women's challenge is also up. Just a huge thank you to Shaun Pollock and Gautam Bhimani. They've been on this show for the past 6 weeks. They've been absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. It's not very often that you get a chance to say thank you to your anchor and to the man like Shaun Pollock. Thank you, guys. You were absolutely super. We will miss you for the finals.
Thanks, Joy. Great to have been here with you.
Yep.
I can't believe Gautam's lost his voice. Gautam's got emotional. Where have I got him? Have I got Gautam? Is it possible?
No, I'm very much here. Very much here. All right. Not one, but 2 matches to remind all of you for. We promised you Tuesday night, but before that, it's going to be a Monday night special. This is going to be the Trailblazers and the Supernovas. Yes, Joe will be there, Gaurav will be there, Lisa Salikar will be there, and this is from 7 p.m. And of course, the ladies are playing in Sharjah, and this should be an interesting one between Smriti Mandhana's team and Harmanpreet Kaur's team. We'll just have a quick word with both Shaun and Joy on this. It's a historic moment because it's just a precursor, Shaun, to what we feel should be a big women's IPL coming very soon.
Yeah, there's been talk of it, hasn't there? And you almost feel like they've deserved it now with some of the performances they've put onto the table, and it's starting to grow in interest. So it could be fantastic. Obviously, there's a lot of cricket that is played by the ladies, and it'd be great to see a tournament where everyone gets over, and it's a bit longer than just the little week we've had so far this time round. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, it was a close match to see the qualification. Mithali Raj will be sort of kicking herself that her team's not in the final, but the 2 young guns of Indian cricket, Smriti Mandhana and Harmanpreet Kaur, going head-to-head, Joy.
Yeah, fabulous. And there's some such great prospects. There's Richa Ghosh, who, keeper batsman, hits the ball a mile. There's Shefali Verma has unfortunately got knocked out. There's Deepthi. There's Jayendra Doughton, who's just hitting the ball so hard. So, I mean, the Sri Lankan girls are superb. There's so much talent out there. And the other thing is just how easily they're hitting sixes. We were looking out here and say that, women's cricket that doesn't have power. The kind of power and timing out there today was, the last few days was outstanding. They've had one bad match, and that was, when the team played the second day, 2 day games in a row in Sharjah, which can't be easy. But 2 out of the 3 games have been literally last over, last ball kind of finishes. So this has been a superb tournament. We are hoping for a superb final after this.
Yes, certainly 2 finals to look forward to. Cricbuzz Live will be there for both of them. It should be a grand finale indeed. Yes, just a bit of trivia to finish with. Even though the universe boss did not make it to the last stages of the tournament, as he tweeted and reminded all of us, but the world boss, yes, folks, the world boss is going to be in the final. Just in case you didn't know, Chris Gale Universe boss, Deandra Doughton is the world boss. That's her Twitter handle. That's her nickname. So we're going to have big stars contesting the final. Thank you so much, Shaun Pollock. Thank you very much, Joy Bhattacharjya. And I used it once during Cricbuzz Combox, but I'll have to say it again to go with the flavor of the moment. It was orange taking on blue. And just like it happened across the Atlantic, blue just decided to dispatch orange and say, "You're fired for this season." That's all we have. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.